I've got a new property I'm going to be talking about here today in this video. It's a 1 acre property in Wheatland, Wyoming. This is located between Casper, Wyoming and Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'll pull it up on a map right here. So you've got Cheyenne down here. You got Denver, Fort Collins. You head up I-25. You could go all the way up to Casper, but right in the middle is a town called Wheatland, Wyoming. In this video, I'm going to be covering a lot of common questions, talking about power, utilities, showing you what the property looks like on satellite imagery and all that good stuff. So sit back for a couple minutes. I'm going to try to educate you on what I know on the property. There's a lot you can learn about a piece of land from the comfort of your home. I think one of the biggest selling points here is we are a land investment company, and this property is priced to sell. I believe we've got the best deal maybe in the state, but for sure in Platte County. And at the end of the video, if you want to stick around, I'm going to go on Zillow and show you guys here what other listings are out there and just kind of talk about this from an investment standpoint and a usability standpoint. So kicking this off with a quick disclaimer as I go through photos. This isn't legal advice. It's not real estate advice. I've been doing this over 10 years, simply sharing my thoughts, my due diligence with you from my experience in the industry and my own research on this property. So our photographer did a great job outlining this. This is an AI representation of something you could build out there in the property, just giving you an idea of that. Like I said, you've got easy road access. Power is going to be no problem. You've got homes in this neighborhood. When it comes to water and sewer, you're going to be looking at, putting a well and a septic system in, which, on an acre, you should have plenty of room for that. You can see you've got some mountain views in the background. Kind of a sleepy little community here in Wyoming. You can see what other neighbors are doing from the satellite imagery too. So that kind of helps you get an idea, what's possible, what are other folks doing on their properties and things like that. So let's keep moving through this listing a little bit. Like I said, I think the target audience here is somebody looking to build an affordable property basically in Wyoming, right? And affordable is a key word. This is one of the best priced lots on the market out there, and it is going to offer a really affordable entry into the state of Wyoming, into the Platte County market, Laramie, Casper. You're really close to Denver and Fort Collins too. This area continues to grow up and down I-25 here. So whether it's a long-term investment in the state of Wyoming, if it's someplace you want to live, there's going to be a lot of options for the end consumer here. Let's talk about the listing a little bit more. I want to show you what it looks like on satellite imagery. This is a flat property. We could see that in the photos too. You can even drop down here on Google Street Views and take a peek at what the property looks like from Street Views. So that's kind of interesting here. Just taking a peek at the property over here this way. Like I said, there's some mountain views in the background there in the distance, and you've got this frontage road off I-25 here to access your property, and more than likely you're going to be accessing your land actually from back here. This is probably where you're putting a driveway. So definitely a buildable property. There's nothing I see wrong with it. Like I said, it's going to be a future spot for somebody to build, or if you're looking for a long-term land investment, this is definitely priced that way, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But going through the listing, if you do want to go view the property, you're welcome to go using our GPS coordinates right here. Just plug it into Onyx Maps. This is my favorite app. You can even just plug it into your phone, and basically you're across the street from this house. So here's the property right here. I'm just using GPS coordinates to locate it. There's no address assigned to it yet until you develop, but you're basically straight across from this guy's home or shed, shop, whatever that is. So yeah, that gives you a really good idea of the property. It is almost a full acre. Going through the listing, you guys can read a little bit more about it on your own. Again, we're located in Platte County, Wyoming. There are some CC&Rs, but these are really light CC&Rs, you guys. Basically, it says you can't have a dumping ground, you can't have a waste facility, and you can't live out of a camper. You can't camp on the property, things like that. It's intended essentially for recreation or for residential use. So Brookside Acres right here, residential use only, right? Double wides are allowed up to 2 stories with a 1 or 2 car garage, and a barn is permitted. So the target audience out here is going to want an accessory structure like a barn. So I think that's a really, like I said, these are really open CC&Rs if you sum these up. 25 to 50 foot setbacks. This is not unnormal at all. Typically county standards are like that. No temporary living. You can't be living out of shacks, garages, and barns as a residence, but you can, design a single family home, right? And double wides are permitted as well. Yada yada. Like I said, this is really obvious stuff. Waste must be kept in sanitary containers. I mean, this is all for the value of the property. Like I said, I talked about you're going to be putting a well or a septic system in when you go to build here. Animals are allowed, things like that. So I just wanted to sum those CC&Rs up for you. I do have a link to them on the website. You can actually read through that document on your own here. So that's that. Going through the property too, really low holding costs if you are looking for an investment. It is located right off Jackrabbit Road, and you are going to have power basically at the street there. You have other homes in the neighborhood. That would not be a concern of mine. And so lastly, I want to talk about the market. For those of you looking for an investment, I get a lot of buyers actually looking in the states of Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, places like that, coming in from the east and west coast trying to find land in these type of markets. This is Platte County. You can see I'm searching that on Zillow. I've got just land available here. Check this out. If I sort by lowest price, low to high, we've got a steal of a deal. It's $18,000 for an acre, and that's the type of business we run. I mean, we move through land pretty fast. If I were an individual, I had a full-time job that wasn't this, I could sit on this for 5 years until, the next COVID came around, until the next, market boom came around. But, we're not in that market. We're in the business of moving land and providing people good deals. So there's meat on the bone for the next guy. We have a lot of investors who purchase here from us. So, they're asking for residential lots, they're asking $30,000 for 7,000 square feet. That's like, a tenth or just a little bit more than a tenth of an acre. That's not a lot of land. And it keeps going up from there. So look how fast this moves. This is a quarter acre for 48, half an acre for 49. This is kind of a cool deal. I don't know how far outside of town it is, but again, this is, $52,000. Do you really need 2 acres, right? We've got a full acre for $18,000. That's a really good deal. So, I just wanted to point that out. Something like this, the comparable sales are significantly higher. I just wanted to let you know, even if you remove this boundary, like we're still the best deal in the area. So, we are in the business of moving land fast. There's nothing wrong with the property. That's just how our business operates here at Wilco Land. So, for those of you interested, give us a call. I do have other listings in Wyoming for sale. I've got stuff in Montana, really just across the United States here. So get with us. Check out our website if you have any questions. You can reach us here at 605-299-5553. Thanks for tuning in.